guys.
Good morning.
It's tea time with Chris and Angela.
I know we look like we just got out of the shower. We feel the need to clarify once again, we are not lovers. We live on opposite sides of the hippie compound. We just happened to run into each other very early this morning in the kitchen of the hippie compound where we live on opposite sides of the house. And we made our tea together. We've been talking about tea time. And so here we are, fresh out of our morning routine. We're so happy to see you guys.
Good morning. So we felt inspired to do a couple of videos this morning. Today, letting spirit lead. What does that look like for you, Chris, when we let spirit lead?
Ugh, yummy. Thank you for asking, Angela. It looks so gentle. And given everything that's happening on the planet right now, today, around today, beyond today, I don't know about you guys, but I pick gentle. And when I let spirit lead, my day, my process, whether it's a medicine process, whether it's integration, whether it's actual medicine work, when I lean into letting spirit lead, my life is gentle, graceful, and peaceful.
So what would be like one of your most recent stories that was like, because we live in the non-ordinary, like regularly. So I was telling a friend the other day when I met up with her to go bike riding that I was like, I sometimes forget how non-ordinary I just live all the time. Like the miraculous is just my everyday, seeing and feeling and hearing spirit is just our norm kind of. And so how does that become your norm? How do you lean into trusting that inner knowing or that intuition inside and outside all around us deeper, and forgetting that the majority of the planet doesn't live this way?
Yeah.
So how do we all catch up to that we can, right? Because I'm not any different than you. I'm not any different than Chris. I mean, she might think she's super special sometimes. No.
Not always.
I feel like everyone's super special, you guys. But we're in this together, right? The same source that lives in me lives in her, that lives in you. And so how do we trust that deeper? And when we're called to medicine, when we're called in life, it's to line up with that. It is to really surrender and trust that and live that.
Yeah.
So what's their most recent story, because we live that all the time, that comes to mind?
Parenting is the whole reason I came to medicine work. The whole reason I found myself is because I was an abusive mother. I'm not proud of it. I was emotionally and physically abusive to my children for years. And now, having learned to lean in and to surrender to spirit, my parenting is so gentle. I have 2 children. My daughter, very, very open to spiritual. As my vibration goes up, her vibration goes up, and she opens, which is magic. I mean, I try and share with my clients and with parents who are struggling. You can't do anything with your children after a certain age. After a certain age, you can't control your kids. You're not feeding them anymore. You're not clothing them anymore. You're just simply being a role model of a new vibration.
Hopefully,
right? Hopefully, thank you.
Or we are being a role model, but not necessarily in the way that we're
teaching them
hoping.
With everything we do. Our words don't mean shit. They are modeling our actions. So my daughter's been opening with me, my son, and I didn't give birth to either of my children. My daughter came home when she was 6 months. My son came home when he was 4. My son had been through a lot. Our stories are very, very similar. And so my son still struggles. And my son had an epic struggle. And old mommy, we call her crazy mommy in our house, not proud. She was a little nuts, a little unpredictable. She would have shamed, she would have blamed, she would have disciplined. She would have caused more damage. And so I had this epic struggle recently, and I knew I wasn't going to address it the old way, and I had to really pray and meditate on it a lot. And it took 2 tries. The first try, I was met with his resistance. The same behavior he would have used with crazy mommy, because he had to defend himself. Not as bad, but pretty tough. And then second time around, grace. Gentle. We solved the problem together. We came up with appropriate actions. We discussed consequences. He felt loved in the end. He even said, I love you to me first in the end, which is epic. for us. But this has been my surrender, and let's be real. I mean, it started with, driving down the street and hearing Spirit go, turn left when I meant to turn right. And so I did. And so the gentle, graceful, peaceful beginnings of surrender.
And I love that you said we came up with the solution, because there's always a solution and there's always a spiritual solution. And to me, like, a spiritual solution is a win-win-win, meaning I win, you win, we win collectively, right? And it just feels good for all of us. So if it doesn't feel good for you, then the energy dynamic or the solution hasn't arrived. And so Spirit is solution orientated from a place that feels good, supportive, and loving for all of us.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that, because that's what rules my life now. My life is ruled by, first of all, the knowing that my experience is supposed to feel good. All of it. All of it is supposed to feel good. Even having hard conversations, we don't really have conflict anymore, which is lovely. But there are things that need to be addressed, boundaries that need to be set, hard conversations that need to be had. Even those are gentle, graceful, peaceful now. And my every measurement tool is, does it feel good or does it feel bad? So given that we live on opposite ends of the hippie compound, we will often...
Just in case you didn't hear that before.
Yeah. In case you were wondering why we're decked out in our shower gear, we are not lovers.
Snuggly
we live on
robes.
opposite sides of the hippie compound. We'll often meet, we have a teaching space in the middle of a huge studio, and we'll meet in the studio, and, we have challenges still, and we will sit down, the first thing we'll say is, God, that felt like shit. And we'll know, okay, not what happened needs to be addressed, although that might call for boundaries, but we know that we need to sit with, individually on opposite sides of the hippie compound, we need to sit with our own stuff and figure out why that experience was gifted to us and determine how we can move through our own resistance, which is everything that feels bad, and move into what feels good.
And we do that by letting Spirit lead. So as much as we're called to in life, if you're called to change your job or change where you live, change so many things, right? Post-medicine work, we often see how out of alignment we actually are with our heart and soul, with our lives, with our relationships. And we're like, oh my God, where do I even start? How do I make these changes? Like, to where it can unfold just like a flower blooming.
Yes.
Where it's not forced. I don't have to make forced changes. So that's what letting Spirit lead to me has done for me, of like, hey, go meet up with this person or connect with this person, or I'll get invitations to go, and not all of them are meant for me to say yes to, right? But like feeling in and trusting that body response.
Yeah, I call it full body thinking. And full body thinking is magic. My body, not this. This is a liar. This is supposed to tell me when my eyes look at the sky, oh, the sky is blue. Oh, thank you for helping me with that experience. Now I know the sky is blue. But it is not supposed to mull shit over and have long, drawn-out conversations with me and try and guide my life. At least that's my experience. How about you?
I would say unless Spirit's using that function to like have the because I do have long drawn out conversations with the universe all the time, but they are, like you said, a full body experience, a full awareness experience. It's not just dominated in here.
Yeah.
I obviously struggle probably a little more than she does, being that she's a Scorpio and they tend to just like live in the deep dark. And I'm a Virgo, and we tend to live a little bit more obsessively in our thinking space. Like, let's just be a little honest, right? So yeah, the longest journey for me has been from here to here, but Spirit's led the way, and to me, Spirit meaning like my heart, because that's to me where Spirit meets us in the encoding or blueprint of like, here's your next step. And it's not that we know our next 10 steps. I love it. I woke up this morning and read Joseph Campbell's quote, if your path is clear, you're probably on someone else's. So good, right? And then, because I posted this like a few years ago and I reread it, and there was a lady on it that she was like, well, isn't being in flow clear? And I'm like, yeah, being in flow is clear, but it's trusting spirit and the unknown. So you don't know your 10-year plan. I'm not like, I'm going to retire at, 60 or 50 and live here and have 2.5 kids, or, where I feel like most people in the medicine world start to throw away that conditioning and that script and that bullshit and really begin to trust, like, so many more people are living in RVs and, doing the nomad life and looking for their tribe and really excavating their own inner selves. And they're not doing it the norm or whatever that is, right? And we're dying out currently in our culture of the norm, which is amazing. To me, this is all spirit-led. All of it. Our culture right now is breaking down, and to me, that's spirit-led.
Of course, absolutely. And I love that you mentioned the how. I was tortured, and I do not use the word tortured lightly. I was tortured for much of my recent medicine journey, because probably I would say 3 years ago, Spirit told me that I was going to drop out. Angela and I call it dropping in, but that I was going to drop out of the mainstream society. It's my cat trying to make her way into the video. She's very cute, by the way. That I was going to drop out of
I have to flip.
of my mainstream life.
Look at my towels.
Drop out of mainstream life into my heart space. And I worked in academia. I was a college administrator and professor for 21 years, and I have 2 small children. I'm a single working mom, and I would just bawl my eyes out in journey. No, I can't do that to my kids. I can't. Like, their mom's already weird. Please don't make me do this to them. And I would just struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle. In the meantime, I was trying to figure out how, and how was not my business. How was not my business. So I came to the hippie compound first. So when I was guided to take my children out of a suburban condo and move into the hippie compound, I was terrified, but a string of miracles brought me here. And I could not deny where I was being led. Okay, I'm supposed to go to this hippie compound with all these 20-somethings and live with my small children. You have now stepped over the line, Chris. And I was like, okay, it was one step over one line. And then my career came. And when I knew without a doubt that I was not going back to my mainstream career, it was terrifying. I had to move into all of my fears. I'd spent 21 years paying bills and then some. Really, really nice life. Every 2 weeks, pay some bills, 5-6 minutes, done, no worries. It's always going to come. And I intended to retire in October 2031. And as it was stripped away, it was terrifying. I didn't have to know the how. It wasn't my business. So I love that you said that, Angela. We don't have to know the how. We just have to lean in and let spirit guide, because spirit has guided. I just had to shut this down, lean into my body, watch the miracles that were presented to me as an invitation. Would you like to live in miracles? Would you like to live in resistance and pain and suffering? I don't know about you.
I pick miracles.
I pick miracles.
Just saying.
I pick miracles, and it so far has worked beautifully. I've been retired since October.
So we invite you, if you've made it this far, if you've watched the video, or if you
First of all, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
We love to share tea time with you guys, and so
Salud.
cheers. And so if you have like a miraculous story, or how maybe spirit has led you or guided you, or that you're struggling to trust, like, leave it below. We'd love to hear more about it.
Please.
Yeah, share, comment, ask questions, community, build community connection. That's what this is about.
Absolutely.
This is a huge part of, to me, all of our paths, and remembering to walk our own path, and what that looks like for you is different than what it looks like for me and what it looks like for Chris. And so, thank you so much for joining us. Let spirit lead.